In the last ban list, Tidal Dragon was unlimited, so we're going to be using it to increase the consistency of our Tearjades deck. In this one, the opponent activated a shifter, so I summoned Jameer and passed my turn. Jameer activated its effect, so it can't be banished for the rest of the turn. They special summon a Kashtira Rise Heart onto the field. The opponent will chain the effect of Tear Cash to a Rise Heart, using the effect of Tear Cash to mill the top 3 cards of my deck. While a Rise Heart is on the field, all cards will be banished instead. So the cards that were milled were banished. One of them happened to be a Tidal Dragon. If Tidal Dragon is banished, we can add a Water Dragon to our hand. I'll have 1 Water Dragon for the following turn, thank you. So it looks like the opponent doesn't know what Jameer does, so they activated the effect of a Rise Heart to banish their own monster. This happens far more often than you might think. And if you don't know, Jameer is a lingering effect. After Jameer activates its effect, none of your monsters can be banished or destroyed by card effects. For Kashtira, the best out to Jameer is to steal it with number 11 Big Eye. The opponent decides to just take out both of our boss monsters in battle instead, and then rank up their Kashtira Shangri-La into a Zeus. So now there's about 3 disruptions we have to worry about: the Zeus, the Fenrir, and the unknown Stellar Trap card. We're going to go ahead and normal summon the Adrian, and use Adrian to search for the Icejade field spell. We'll activate the manifestation, special summon a Ron from the deck, and the opponent's going to activate a Zeus to wipe the field, and because they sent an Icejade to the graveyard without destroying it, we can activate the manifestation, target Zeus, and banish it. Now we can start our combo with Tidal. We'll discard a water and send Tearlament Havness to the graveyard, and then activate Havness in the graveyard to fusion summon into Tearlament Kid Kalos. Now we want to use Tearlament Kid Kalos to bring a water monster onto the field, either a Tearlament Kid Kalos or a Tearlament Kashtira. So sending the Tearlament Trap card to the graveyard was a misplay. I just meant to add Tearlament Rhinoheart to the hand. So now Kid Kalos will send itself to the graveyard and special summon Rhinoheart. We'll activate Rhinoheart on Chain Link 2, sending a Tearlament Sheer into the graveyard. Kid Kalos mills 5 cards. We milled a Shadow Beast, so we're going to be able to draw a card. We also want to mill water monsters that can special summon themselves from the graveyard, like Crystal Beast or Tidal Dragon of the Waterfalls if we haven't already activated its effect. Using Sheeran, we'll fusion summon into a Kalos. We'll special summon Crystal Girl from the graveyard if we control a level 5 or higher water. If we have Icejade field spell, we'll be able to use it to grab an Icejade Ron from the graveyard if we happen to have one. Using the Icejade Ron and the level 3 token, we'll synchro summon into a Sorcel Chang'e. Since we're going second and we want to be able to OTK with Chang'e's boosted attack stat, at this point in the combo, I will usually then link into Marince's Coral Anemone, using the water monster special summon from the graveyard, and then use Coral Anemone to bring back any water monsters from the graveyard to extend the combo. So now we're going to take a look at another replay involving Tidal Dragon. Here we're going to use Fenrir to add Tear Cash to the hand, and then we can discard the Tear Cash with our Icejade Brawn, special summon a token, and then go straight into a Icejade Jameer. And now we can normal summon our Rhinoheart, send a Tearlament Havness to the graveyard, fusion summon into a Tearlament Kid Kalos with the Icejade Ron. We already have a Tearlament water monster in the graveyard or hand, so if Tearlament Kid Kalos wasn't negated, we would use it to add a Tearlament Trap card. The opponent has a monster in their graveyard, so we can activate the Icejade Manifestation to special summon Icejade Adrian from the deck, and then use Adrian to add Icejade Erosion to the hand. I want to make some space on the field, so we're going to link into Marince's Coral Anemone using Adrian and Rhinoheart. Now we can activate Kid Kalos, sending Kid Kalos to the graveyard and special summoning our Tearlament Cash from the graveyard. And we're going to chain Tear Cash on Chain Link 2. Tear Cash will mill 3 cards, and Kid Kalos will mill 5 cards. We'll activate the Shadow Beast to draw a card, and we'll special summon our Tidal Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls from the graveyard. Using Tear Cash and our Dragon Ruler, we can Exi summon into Darkest Dragon Doomrider. If this card is Exi summoned using a dragon like Tidal Dragon, it will have a quick effect that lets it pop any face-up card on the field, including your own. So you can use this to trigger your own Tearlament cards if you want to destroy them by card effect. So we're going to activate the Icejade Erosion to destroy one of our Icejades and negate the Grass Looks Greener. Fortunately, with all the milling we did mill a Icejade Tremora, so we'll be able to banish the Icejade Tremora and special summon the Adrian from the graveyard and use it to search for another card. The opponent's going to negate it with Ash. So now the opponent is down 3 cards and we have 3 disruptions on the field. They activated a golden sarcophagus, and they're going to use it to banish one monster from their deck. They banished a Tri-Brigade Mercurier and activate its effect. They used its effect to add a Blazing Cortesius to the hand. And then they normal summoned Aluber to add a branded spell to the hand. So now they have Branded Fusion. They activate the Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion is limited to 1, so we're just going to banish this so they have no more copies of this card. So the opponent is going to Fusion Summon using Tri-Brigade Mercurier and Fallen of Albaz to Fusion Summon into a Striking Dragon. And it looks like they're just going to go straight into the battle phase. We're going to activate our Doomrider to target and pop that card. They're going to negate it with their Striking Dragon. Then they're going to bounce one card back to the hand. So there goes our Fenrir. And they destroyed our Coral Dragon. They special summon the Blazing Cortesia and then activate its effect to Fusion Summon. So they're going to Fusion Summon into a Dust Dragon. On the special summon a Dust Dragon, they will send an Ash Dragon to the graveyard. Now the opponent has activated a Branded in White to Fusion Summon by banishing Fallen of Albaz from the graveyard. So maybe Branded Fusion wasn't the best card to banish if they can just recycle Branded in White. Jameer's effect is still active, so they can't banish our cards, so they have to banish their own monster. During the opponent's end phase, they will activate an effect in the graveyard to special summon a Fallen of Albaz. Use Fallen of Albaz to discard one card and Fusion Summon with our Icejade Jameer. Branded seems to have an out to everything, don't they? And we do have an Icejade manifestation in the graveyard. We'll banish the Icejade manifestation and chain the Icejade Erosion. On Chain Link 2, Erosion will special summon an Icejade Ron from the deck, and manifestation will banish the Striking Dragon. So now the opponent has no disruptions to activate on our turn. So now we're just free to do what we want without disruptions. We'll activate the Havness in the graveyard. Fusion Summon using the Kit Kalos in the graveyard into a Tearlament Royal Kalos. Using Icejade Ron and Baby Agerine, we will Synchro Summon into our Sword Soul Changing. We don't have a card that banishes in order to trigger the Changing, but we'll just go into the battle phase, destroy Rhino Heart, and because it's a water, we can trigger our Icejade Tremora, banish it to special summon an Icejade Jameer from the graveyard. Using the Icejade Jameer, we'll destroy the Mirajade. Mirajade activates its effect, and the opponent chains an Aluber. We can trigger our Kalos to prevent the Aluber from special summoning. To prevent Mirajade from destroying our monsters on the end phase, we'll trigger our Icejade Jameer. Changing will destroy the Ash Dragon, so we don't have enough damage to finish off the opponent. They only have 100 life points left. We'll set our Tearlament counter trap and pass our turn. During the end phase, the opponent will add the Blazing Cortesius to the hand, special summon Quem, and send Branded Retribution to the graveyard. The opponent will then activate Shrouded Dragon and use it to send Branded in Red to the graveyard, shuffle Shrouded Dragon back into the deck and draw a card. They'll special summon Blazing Cortesia, activate the Branded Retribution to add Branded in White back to the hand. A card was banished, so now we can activate our Changing. We'll banish the Fallen of Albaz from the graveyard that they needed to activate Branded in White. So maybe banning Branded Fusion was the best choice after all. So in this one, we're going to be special summoning Trishula Zero, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. The opponent has activated a monster effect on the field, so we can chain Tearlament Havness and mill 3 cards. We didn't get lucky here, so we're going to skip ahead here. They finished their combo, and now we can go second. We drew into a Tidal Dragon Ruler. At the start of our main phase, we'll activate the Icejade Cradle. The opponent's going to negate it with Ash Blossom. A lot of people tend to use their Ash Blossom on Icejade Cradle, which is great for us because it means they're not using their Ash Blossom on our Tearlament Rhino Heart. Rhino Heart's going to send our Tearlament Havness to the graveyard. We'll activate the Havness and Fusion Summon with our Rhino Heart into a Tearlament Kit Kalos. On summon, we'll activate Tearlament Kit Kalos, and the opponent's going to respond with a Mathmech trap card. They'll special summon 3 of their Mathmech monsters from the graveyard. They had to activate the trap card before we summon Rokalos, because Rokalos would be able to negate the trap card. Now they can Exi summon into Prima Mathmech Laplacian. On Chain Link 1, Kit Kalos will then resolve, and we'll use it to add a Tearlament Kashtira to the hand. On summon, Laplacian will discard 1 random card from our hand and 1 card on the field. Lucky for us, they discarded the Tear Cache. So we're going to be able to chain our Tear Cache to our Kit Kalos. Tear Cache will mill 3 cards, and Kit Kalos will mill 5 cards. In the graveyard, we can activate the Rhino Heart, chain Tearlament Scream to it. Use Tearlament Scream to add a Tearlament trap card to the hand. Special summon the Rhino Heart. So we're just summoning Rhino Heart to get a water body on the field. We use a Tear trap card to add Sheeran to the hand. In the graveyard, we'll activate Tidal Dragon, banishing 2 water monsters from the graveyard to special summon it, and Laplacian will negate that summon. So now that Laplacian has used up its negate, we can activate the Icejade Brawn to discard a water monster, special summon the Brawn with a level 3 token, and then activate the Crystal Girl. And then we'll activate Crystal Girl. Using Brawn, the level 3 token, and Crystal Girl, we can synchro summon into a level 11 Trishula Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier and banish 3 cards on the opponent's side of the field. Using the Trishula and the Rhino Heart, we can link into Marince's Coral Anemone, and then use Coral Anemone to special summon 1 water monster from the graveyard. We can special summon the Icejade Brawn, and then synchro with Tearlament Halfness into a Sword Soul Chengying. We have just enough monsters banished to boost Sword Soul Chengying's attack above 4,000. Now we can talk about Visa Starfrost. This is a level 6 tuner that can target 1 face-up monster you control and destroy it. We can use it to destroy our own monsters to trigger the effects of Icejades and Tearlament monsters that have effects when a card is destroyed. Here the opponent negated Kid Kalos with Ash Blossom, we're going to destroy it with Starfrost and trigger its effect. Kid Kalos was sent to the graveyard by a card effect, so we'll still be able to mill 5 cards. We can also synchro summon with our Visa Starfrost using a level 4 monster. We can't synchro summon into Jameer because Icejade Jameer needs a water tuner, but we can synchro summon into Sword Soul Chengying or Baron de Flor. So let's take a look at a duel involving Visa Starfrost. We're going second against Evil Eye, and the activated monster effect, we're going to respond with Havness, and they activate Max C. They destroy our Havness, triggering its effect. We're going to go ahead and fusion summon with the Shadow Beast in our hand into an El Shaddai Winda. This is to stop the opponent from doing any more combos, and so they can pass their turn, and now it's our turn. Winda does have friendly fire. Now we can only special summon once per turn. Although Winda cannot be destroyed by the opponent's card effects, we can destroy our own Winda with Visa Starfrost. So the opponent's Cicada King Eggsy monster targeted and negated the search on Icejade. But we activated Icejade in response. Since it was targeted, we can special summon a water monster from the hand or graveyard. Now this was a misplay. I don't actually want to special summon a monster here. Because Winda is still on the field, I'd rather destroy Winda by special summoning Visa Starfrost, so then I can combo on my own turn. So we're just going to continue the duel here and go into the battle phase and destroy a monster, and then pass our turn. So we're just going to skip a little ahead here. They're going to go straight into the battle phase. Adrian is still permanently negated, so that's going to go into the graveyard, and there goes our Winda. The opponent's just going to set 1 card and pass their turn. It looks like we drew into a Tidal Dragon. We're going to activate Icejade Tremora, special summon the Tear Cache from the hand, trigger the Tear Cache, so they have chained Cicada King's effect to our Tear Cache, targeting it and then negating it permanently, switching Cicada King into defense position, and then special summoning 1 insect monster from the graveyard. We'll activate our Visa Starfrost, targeting our Tear Cache and destroying it. Then we'll activate Tearlament Kashtira and chain Icejade Tremora. On Chain Link 3, the opponent targets our Visa Starfrost and destroys it. Icejade Tremora resolves, will special summon the Icejade Adrian from the graveyard, and then Tear Cache mills 2 cards. We'll activate Icejade Adrian, and then chain the Tearlament trap card in the graveyard. Using the Tearlament trap card, Tearlament Sulek will add a Tearlament monster to the hand. And with the Icejade, we'll search for Manifestation. We'll activate Icejade Manifestation, use it to special summon the Icejade Ron from the deck, and then using Icejade Ron and Adrian, we'll synchro summon into an Icejade Jameer. The opponent flips over a trap card that bounces monsters back to the hand. We're going to respond with Icejade Jameer, so now for the rest of the turn, our monsters cannot be banished or destroyed. They used the trap card to bounce both Jameer and Maxi. Our Icejade was removed from the field without being destroyed. That triggers our Icejade Manifestation, we'll banish it from the graveyard and target one of our opponent's back row and banish it. So the opponent still has that Max C. We're going to normal summon our Rhino Heart and then send a Tearlament Havness to the graveyard, and the opponent chains a Max C. It would be better for us to take the Max C challenge. The opponent could OTK us the following turn. Using the Tearlament Havness and the Icejade Run in the graveyard, we will fusion summon into a Tearlament Kid Kalos. We'll activate Tearlament Kid Kalos and use it to add a Tearlament Scream to the hand. Then we'll activate the Tearlament Scream. The opponent responds with a counter trap, destroying it and sending it to the graveyard, triggering its effect. If it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, we can use it to add a Tearlament trap card to the hand. so we're going to use it to add the Tearlament counter trap. We'll activate Tearlament Kid Kalos to special summon Tear Cache from the graveyard, and then we'll mill 5 cards. We can banish Visa Starfrost and Rhino Heart from the graveyard to special summon Vicious Astraloud. It can target and then destroy one monster on the field, and then boost its attack equal to half of the original attack or defense, whichever is highest. Now we can special summon our Tidal Dragon from the hand, and the opponent only has 4,000 life points left, and this is going to be more than enough to finish them off. In the next 2 replays, we're going to be using Supreme Sea Mare as a starter and as an extender. In this one, we'll be using it as a way to start a Tearlament combo. We use the Tear Field spell to add Sheeran to the hand. We use Icejade Adrian to add an Icejade manifestation to the hand. Getting Icejade Jameer on the field is the #1 priority against a branded deck. It looks like the opponent doesn't want us to resolve the Icejade manifestation, which requires a water monster on the field. They want us to give us 0 chances to summon Icejade Jameer because that's going to be a problem for them. So they're going to pop the baby Adrian with Guardian Chimera. Fortunately for us, we still have 2 extenders in the hand. We have our Sheeran and Icejade Chimera. So they're going to go ahead and pop the baby Adrian. We'll activate Tearlament Sheeran, special summon it, and discard 1 monster from our hand and mill 3 cards. The opponent banished the Dust Dragon and special summon a Dogmatica from the deck. We'll activate the Icejade Tremora and special summon the Supreme Sea Mare and use it to send a Tearlament Havness to the graveyard. We'll activate Havness and fusion summon with the Icejade Tremora in the graveyard into a Tearlament Kid Kalos. We'll activate Kid Kalos on Chainlink 1 and the field spell on Chainlink 2. So the opponent has activated their Quem and targets the Fallen of Albaz from the graveyard. They'll special summon the Fallen of Albaz, and we're going to use the field spell to pop one of their back row. Use Kid Kalos to send Tearlament Castira to the graveyard. The opponent's going to chain Fallen of Albaz, and discard 1 card to fusion summon with our Kid Kalos into a Tearjades. Both the Tear Cache and Kid Kalos were sent to the graveyard by a card effect, so we're going to be able to mill 2 cards and then mill 5 cards. Then we can activate the effect of Sulek in the graveyard and Rhino Heart. We'll use Rhino Heart to discard Rhino Heart from the hand, special summon the Rhino Heart, and then use Sulek to add Tearlament Havness to the hand. Activate Rhino Heart to send Sheeran to the graveyard. Use Sheeran to fusion summon using our Kid Kalos in the graveyard into a Predaplant. This is to negate the Tearjades. Now we can activate Tidal Dragon to special summon Tidal Dragon. And then using Rhino Heart and Sheeran, we will Exi summon into Abyss Dweller. We'll activate the Crystal Girl. Use Tidal Dragon and Crystal Girl to link summon into Marinta's Coral Anemone. The opponent has activated the Tearjades. We're going to respond with Tearlament Havness, and then chain our Predaplant to negate the effect of Tearjades. Then we'll chain Abyss Dweller so they cannot activate effects in the graveyard for the rest of the turn. Abyss Dweller resolves, Predaplant resolves, Havness resolves, mill 3 cards. Tearjades does not resolve. Now we can activate our manifestation. We'll special summon a Ron from the deck and use it to synchro with Tearlament Havness into an Icejade Jameer. Now we can special summon our Vicious Astraloud by banishing our Rhino Heart and our Visa Starfrost. Vicious will pop the Guardian Chimera and gain half of its attack. So we can see having Visa Starfrost and Vicious Astraloud not only helps to remove a monster, but also gives that extra push to finish your opponent off in 1 turn. So the opponent brought back Tearjades, but Jameer's effect is still active. They're going to banish their own Tearjades. That is a scoop of shame. So now another replay with Supreme Sea Mare, and this one we're going to activate Foolish Burial Goods to send Sulek to the graveyard, activate Sulek to add Tear Cache to the hand. Now we will normal summon Adrian, and use its effect to add Icejade Cradle to the hand. Then we're going to activate the Icejade Cradle to search for an Icejade Ron. We'll activate the Icejade Ron, discarding the Tearlament Castira that we added to the hand, and then summon an Icejade Jameer. Tearlament Castira was the best card to discard with Icejade Ron, since we are going to be able to special summon it from the graveyard later with a Tearlament Kid Kalos. So we're going to special summon a Tearlament Rhino Heart from the deck using our Tearlament Grief. Then we're going to activate the Tearlament Havness, fusion summoning with our Icejade Ron, sending both back into the deck to fusion summon into Tearlament Kid Kalos, and then we'll use Kid Kalos to add a Tearlament Scream to our hand. We'll activate the Kid Kalos to special summon the Tear Cache, sending our Tearlament Kid Kalos to the graveyard, and then activating the Tearlament Castira and chaining the Tearlament Scream. So we're going to get 3 mils off Scream, another 3 mil off Tear Cache, and 5 mils off Tearlament Kitkalos. We'll activate the Tearlament Scream sent to the graveyard to add a Tearlament trap card to the hand. Now we're going to special summon the Tidal Dragon of Waterfalls from the graveyard so we have enough water monsters on the field to link summon into a Marensis Coral Anemone. And we're going to use the Marensis Coral Anemone to special summon the Supreme Sea Mare that was milled to the graveyard, and then we'll use Supreme Sea Mare to send a Tearlament Sheeran to the graveyard. With all the limits and semi-limits to Tearlament Havness and Tearlament Sheeran, you're not always going to get so lucky and mill a monster to fusion summon. Supreme Sea Mare can help us get into Kalos anyway. And then using the Supreme Sea Mare and Rhino Heart, we can then Exi summon into a Abyss Dweller. Before the opponent's main phase 1, we'll activate the Abyss Dweller, detaching 1 material, and now the opponent cannot activate any card effects in the graveyard for the rest of the turn. And because the opponent just tributed one of my water monsters, we can flip over the Icejade Erosion and summon an Icejade from the deck. And now the opponent has activated a Raigeki, we're going to target that Raigeki with Icejade Erosion. This will let us destroy one of our Icejades, and now the opponent's Raigeki will be negated. One of our water monsters was destroyed, so we can activate the Icejade Jamora, banishing it and special summoning an Icejade from the graveyard. And it looks like Jameer has scared the opponent away. So just to summarize Tearjades really quickly, the goal is to summon Kitkalos, then use Kitkalos to send either Tear Cache to the graveyard, or you can add Tear Cache to your hand instead if you have a card that needs to discard it like Icejade Ron or Tearlament Sheeran. Then you can use Kitkalos to mill as many cards as you can, hopefully sending a Tear to the graveyard so you can fusion summon into Kalos. Then you can use Crystal Girl or Tidal Dragon to link into Marensis Coral Anemone and then special summon either Adrian or Supreme Sea Mare from the graveyard to extend your combo. Hopefully this makes it easier, so that's all for now. Bye!